The last thing we're going to talk about really fast is adaptations. Adaptations are things that happen to species after they've gone through some sort of environmental change. So all populations have genetic diversity. That genetic diversity allows them to change. The genetic diversity exists because random mutations during the DNA, those random mutations have to be beneficial. Those beneficial changes then have to increase within a population. All right. Once it increases within a population, it becomes an adaptation, and that new trait increases the organism's ability to survive and reproduce. That is when an adaptation becomes part of evolution. Evolution happens because of natural selection, and natural selection is when organisms that are better adapted to their environment survive and reproduce more offspring. They then pass those positive traits down to their offspring, and then those organisms live longer and pass their traits down as well. All right, I'm being honest here. I am just voicing over because I don't know what happened, but my video went away. So, natural selections and adaptations are caused because of those selective pressures within an ecosystem. If the selective pressure within an ecosystem doesn't cause species to die out, it's not going to eventually lead to evolution. So, without a change in the environment and beneficial traits, organisms aren't going to evolve. So the environment that organism lives in determines the traits that are beneficial. So as the environment changes, certain traits might be beneficial while other traits are not beneficial. So if a drought kills off finches with smaller beaks, those finches with larger beaks are going to be better suited for the environment. However, another change might actually not work, and that might then kill off those finches with the larger beaks. So you have to think about not only the trait, but also the environment that it's living in. The more rapidly an environment changes, the less likely the species in the environment will be able to adapt. So if a change is happening really fast, then generally organisms have a hard time evolving because they still have to reproduce and pass those traits down to the next generation. Some species might just try to migrate, and other species are just going to die out completely. So if their reproduction happens too slowly, you're definitely not going to see evolution occurring because those organisms have to reproduce and pass down those beneficial traits. And if they don't have the beneficial traits within their population already, that still has to show up. So evolution only happens when you have high genetic diversity and beneficial adaptations for whatever the environmental change is. And because those genetic changes are random, it's not like you can quote unquote plan for those changes in the environment. You have to just have those traits already present. Variations in color, variations in beak size, they have to be naturally occurring. And if they're beneficial, then organisms evolve. If an organism has a long lifespan, it takes them longer to evolve. If they reproduce slowly, it takes them longer to evolve. All of these things are elements when it comes to the evolution of species. So when we think about these species evolving, we have to think about their lifespan. Bacteria and virus can evolve in days. This data table shows the beak size of the finches in 2 different islands of the Galapagos. Try to describe the difference in the beak size in the 2 islands and make a claim about the reason for the size in those beaks. If you can if you can make a prediction what it might be for. The life lesson for today, I don't know why the screen went backwards. The life lesson for today is don't try to work out and then record a video for your students because you'll look like a drowned rat. In fairness, I look like this a lot, so I don't know if I can blame that on the workout.